Welcome back to Decoding the Flow. I am your host, Drica Lobo. Today's guest is Eric Bigger. He's a speaker, author, coach, and creator of spiritual fitness. While many people first discover him through television, his deeper journey began after the cameras stopped rolling. Through mindset work, spirituality, self-development, and commitment to inner transformation, Eric has dedicated his life to helping people align their mind, body, and spirit. His new book, Spiritual Fitness, is now on pre-sale and expands on the principle he has been teaching for years, helping people strengthen their inner worlds with the same intention they bring to the physical fitness. Today, we are going to talk about identity, authenticity, flow, consciousness, and what it really means to become who you are meant to be. Eric, welcome to Decoding the Flow. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to talk about identity, authenticity, and becoming, right? And
Yes,
fitness.
absolutely. So you started your TV career, let's say, when you are at Bachelorette, part of the Bachelorette back in 2017. If we meet Eric Bigger in 2017 and the Eric Bigger today, what would they say to each other?
I guess I would say me today would tell Erica of 2017 to brace yourself. You got a full on ride of emotions, roller coaster of life, some big highs, some big lows, but you got it. It's all good. It's all part of the journey.
So when does your spiritual awakening started? It was right after Bachelorette?
No, 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 no. So I went to the Bachelorette, 2017, season 13, Rachel Lindsay. From there, I did Winter Games. That was the end of 2017. And then the next summer I did, which was 2018, was Bachelor in Paradise, right? And then for Bachelor in Paradise, I did Dancing with the Stars. I did Family Feud. And then 2021, I did Match Me If You Can on Viacom, MTV's platform and network. In 2021, I released two books. 23, that's when I went through my Dark Night of the Soul. So I kind of had success, right? 2017. So 7 years, I would say, 6 to 7 years. I had success, I had momentum, I was visible, brand deals, commercials, TV shows, game shows, all those things, all the cool stuff. And then 2023 is when I hit the wall. But also in 2023 was a year one in numerology. So I like to speak on knowing, because most times we don't know the cycle of life we're in. So in 2023, I was in a brand new cycle. We have 9 cycles, right? So, you know, personal year one, fresh start, nothing makes sense. Your soul is trying to catch up to like, what should I do? So at that point in my life, I knew what I did before, which was the brand deals, partnerships, TV, all the way I was living had to change. Even if it wasn't shown in my reality, I felt it in my body and I didn't know what to do. I was really lost. I was really at a point of, this identity doesn't work anymore. I've gone through identity crises, ego death. And on top of that, I was in a relationship, right? For the first time, I allowed myself to fall and feel and receive love and be open and receptive to someone because had a career on TV, public, just all the way out in the world. So I've dated a lot, I've been around the world, and I think my soul was ready for some real commitment. And then that relationship took me through a roller coaster of emotions, ups and downs, highs and lows. And it really, really triggered a deeper awakening within me. And also at that time, my dad was in and out of the hospital and I was having ego death. So it was a lot of
Wow.
contrast in 2023 that at the time didn't make sense, but now it does. And that's when the towers fell. I hit a wall. I was lost. I was confused. I was sad. I was hurt. I eventually got out of that relationship. My dad got better. I lost a lot of friends. There was some betrayal. and really some changes. But I asked for this. I called it in. I wanted a better life, a better opportunity to be who I really am and not who I thought I should be. And yeah, the universe went to work and God said, here you go, young man. Here you are. And then I did with the Peru, do plant medicine. And then that's when spiritual fitness kind of came into evolution, into reality.
It's part of my life as much art is. And so tell us what inspired you to write spiritual fitness and what does it mean?
Spirituality, if people listening, is awareness plus trust. That's what spirituality is. Spirituality makes you aware of something. And once you're aware of that, you trust it, you become spiritual, right? Fitness is integration and embodiment, right? Once you're aware of the things you need to trust spiritually, you go into integrating it in your life and embodying it to become spiritually fit. That's the short version. So many layers of spiritual fitness. At the time of my dark night of the soul, the thing that gave me life when I was in those dark spaces was the gym and prayer, right?
Mhm.
So I knew I went to the gym twice a day, worked out, I worked on my body, worked on my soul, and I prayed. So those two things were always a constant in my life, and it never gave up on me. And the gym, which is funny because fitness has always been a part of my life. I kind of put it on the back burner. Fitness was my wife because TV became my mistress, if that makes sense. So TV comes in very enticing, very
Mm,
influential, very ecstatically welcoming. Yes. And so I leaned into that world of the mistress of TV and reality. And I'm like, wow, look at me, famous, doing the things I love. My dreams came true. Here, fitness kind of took the back seat, but fitness never left. I just never gave it acknowledgement, right? So when I lost all this momentum from the mistress that I thought I had, right? And all the
yeah.
fame, fortune that I created from living my dreams, fitness was the only thing I could go to save my life. So that's what the gym is for me. The gym is a sacred space. A temple was the church of my soul, the gym. And I added that with God and prayer, and I merged the two, and it kind of saved me and put me over the top to get me to the next phase of life. So in that process, I had about one client that I was coaching long distance that was in Toronto. And also at that time, I knew I had to take my business. I was like online because the brand deal space slowed down. TV wasn't there. No one was knocking on the door. So I'm like, how am I going to make money? But the only thing was there was fitness. So I merged the two. I did some of the stuff with this client. We're in spiritual fitness. We set an intention. We move our bodies for 45 minutes. We do breath work, affirmations, then we pray. And then over time, right, our life, her life eventually changed, but we didn't make it so body focused. We really was working on a consciousness of the body,
Mm.
consciousness of the spirit, consciousness of the mind. And then over time, this person released so much weight from their body. They gained more clarity, more wisdom, more understanding, and they already was successful materially, but spiritually it became more successful. They got closer to God within themselves, and their life changed. And then that particular client invited me to a network of people who I help shift and change their vibration and frequency through spiritual fitness. So spiritual fitness is 2 years new, really. But I've always been spiritually fit. I just didn't know because I didn't really give it the time it needed until it needed me. And so now I welcome everybody into the container of their own spiritual fitness. From a more individual standpoint, it's a customized channel of your soul of spirituality and fitness and what it means to you. Instead of me telling you this is what it is or else, it's like, no, this is the blueprint. Now you customize it for your blueprint of your life, of your soul, of your consciousness, of your body, so you can be spiritually fit. And then you merge that into your life, and your life changes. You get on a higher frequency. You feel better because you're clear on what your channel wants from you in this lifetime.
So that's what you're going to give like step by step for in your book.
Well, no. So in the book, it's a more of a client vignettes. Each client has a interpretation. So if you're my client, I might have a story about intention and how intentions change your life. Have another client where breathwork changed her life. Have another client where the movement part was big for her, or prayer. right? So I'm giving you an example of how these people benefited, but the real actual book is how I got to spiritual fitness. So I'm telling somewhat of my life story, who I am, what I became, what I was on, and how that darkness turned into light, and I transmuted my pain into power to become spiritually fit, to share this consciousness and this new paradigm for the world, but for the fitness community and everybody who's big onto movement, and movement is medicine.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much because when I started my fitness journey about 6 years ago, I had no idea. You first start fitness because something's missing in your life, right?
Yeah.
You want to feel good, you want to feel better with yourself. And then the first thing that you notice, it is not even the body change, but all of your other little habits throughout the day, right? It goes into this ripple effect of everything else in your life. And then you start talking to yourself, your inner dialogue. You start empowering yourself, which is not something that normally people unfortunately do,
Yeah.
right? Like if you look at yourself in the mirror, like are you really proud of yourself? A lot of people really avoid it, which is really sad. And when you are at the gym lifting heavy weights, the only thing that you have to do is to push yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
So I totally see that connection. And I love how you bring all of these different interpretations that your clients had, and they all related to some sort of healing practice that we can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really fascinating. What is one story that really you had experience that really highlighted for you through those 2 years working with clients?
There's 2 things. So the first thing is I wasn't really aware how much impact I had on someone's life with this method. I was just like, yeah, I'm doing my thing. And my one client, she's like, Eric, but you changed my life. Like you literally helped me. You saved me. I had a client going through a very challenging divorce. She was married probably for like maybe 19, 20 years. And in that process of separation, she came into my energy. And in that process, she changed her life. She lost weight. She bought a new car, bought a new house, and she transformed. But I never took, like you said, we don't toot our own horn or we don't celebrate our victories for whatever reason. I couldn't receive it, right? Because I still was in the early stages of spiritual fitness. Like I know what I'm doing, but I didn't understand what was happening. You know how, sometimes I tell, let's say someone's a parent, right? They have the right intentions for their child, but they don't know the impact it's having on them. So I had the right intentions for spiritual fitness, but I didn't realize the depth of the impact it was having on an individual. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just doing my thing and I want to help you and I love people. And then once I started going deeper into it, I'm like, oh, I really have something that can change the world. And number two was what I'm realizing now is that I'm bringing people closer to God, right? Or bringing people closer to the God within, the creator, the, infinite intelligence, the all, the be all. And that's what's more rewarding to me because it's not about me, it's about we, but it's also about God through me for others to ripple that out in the world. And the more people can be in a higher consciousness connected to, truth consciousness, Christ consciousness, the divinity, the divine, the sacred omega of all, the better we are. And not I for we, it's we for all. So I think that's the most rewarding and fulfilling thing for me is that I'm allowing people to tap into their spiritual power that you can't see, but you know it's available and you trust it and you follow it and your life change. So it's beautiful because I get to see people unlock things within them and tap into their remembrance and become powerful through this method and this medicine of spiritual fitness.
Yeah, I love that because it really relates to the core idea of this podcast, which I call creative consciousness. When you realize that we are here to create life and
Yeah.
not react it to life, to really notice that just like us artists that are here to create a new canvas, we do this with our lives every single day, every single minute. And that is something that sometimes we forget. So I'm really glad for that work that you're doing. So let's go back to your visibility impact. I am pretty sure that was amazing for a period of time. And then you said that you had your dark night of the soul. But
Mhm.
How did public visibility impact your relationship with your authenticity? You are listening to Decoding the Flow with me, Drica Lobo. If this conversation is inspiring you, take a moment to follow the show and share it with someone who is ready to live more creatively. You can find more inspiration, art, and behind the scenes stories at dricalobo.com or my Instagram at dricaloboart. Now, let's take a deep breath and get back to the flow.
Well, I think it really hit my authenticity, and it kind of pushed out my character that I thought I should play, because the character I was playing, it was authentic to the character, but it wasn't authentic to the soul. If that makes sense?
Yeah, totally.
Because that character brought me benefits, brought me success. I was able to experience dreams that I always had in my mind, have a podcast, write several books, travel the world, speak on stages, party, make money, do all these cool things. But inside of that character, I didn't allow myself to be fully seen because I was hiding parts of myself in my smile, in
Mhm.
my visibility, in my accomplishments, in my success, in who I thought I should be. And then, the soul got tired of faking the game to act as if you won the game. Once I couldn't resist that pressure to let go, I had to let it all open up. And then that's where the true authenticity appeared in my life and became real and became vulnerable, empowering, and open and honest with all of life, not just the parts that I thought people would like about me. I was just raw, and I let it be seen.
Yeah. But I also see as time goes by, as we experience life, it also occurs this natural involvement of the soul
Yeah,
itself. Because the Eric who got the visibility at first
yeah,
place, he was happy for a period of time,
yeah. I was
correct?
happy. Yeah, I was happy. I was fulfilled. I'm living my dreams, and I think that's a great extraction of what I just said, because you're making me bring what really need people need to acknowledge about it all was in the process of me living my dreams and being visible, being famous, doing the things I love. I never stopped working on myself.
Yeah.
So in the behind the scenes, I'm still working on my energetics, my spirituality, my understanding. I'm reading books. I'm going to seminars. I'm still doing meditation. I'm doing all the things. And so to feed off what you said, that constant activation of that part of me was growing behind the front part of me who was being seen. And yet the more I grew behind the scenes, the person that was on the scene had to die because my consciousness was growing. So this person had to like fall off and become new again and go back on another hero journey. So yes, to your point, I never stopped doing the work. I was always evolving and growing. And with that growth, I had to let old Eric go and kind of refine and become new Eric that I am today.
With that involvement of the soul and of our external life and our attempts to always be in aligning with the inner world, how do you navigate fear and uncertainty and self-doubt? Or how do you tell your clients or some people who may be listening here, there may be even uncertainty of their own authenticity, because this happens a lot. What do you have to say?
I think the most important thing is that you just gotta feel into it. Like you can't act as if the fear is not real. You gotta be in fear.
Yeah.
Be
First
in
thing.
radical acceptance of what is and not try, and I think that's what I did most of my time was try to not accept my real feelings because I was inauthentic to them, right? Because I didn't want to feel them because I was afraid what it would allow me to look at. And this is the thing I'm surfing that is surfacing online is that they say too much healing has cost me my drive and ambition. But that drive and ambition that you once had wasn't rooted in nothing real. It was a false narrative of self that you thought you had to be that was hiding behind the character, behind the mask. And so you gotta have radical acceptance. You gotta embrace it. You gotta be uncomfortable and move into it because I believe this. If you don't experience the darkness of life or you don't experience the shadow or the darkness of your soul, you're not going to be able to hold the likeness or the greatness of your life or your soul. It just doesn't work like that. I also have a belief that as a man, I can't say for a woman, and I could be wrong, but this is my experience. If you never experienced heartbreak, I don't feel like you can truly, truly be deeply in love. Cause I don't feel like you can go to one end of the spectrum at the highest and not experience the other end.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it correlates because, yeah, you might be in love, but how much love are you in if you've never really experienced heartbreak? That's my opinion. So there was also parts of my life that I skipped or I avoided because I could. And guess what? Those things caught up to me. Right. And I still had to face them. I couldn't run from them. So people listen, doesn't matter how old you are or where you are or who you are, the things you run from or the things you think you're getting away with because maybe you have talent, you have a character, you have charisma, you cool, you have money, is all it's gonna find you, chase you down, and you gotta face that part of you. So for me, it's just radical acceptance, embracing, accepting, and allowing it to go through you and turn into alchemy and become spiritually fit.
Yeah.
If
I love it. I love it. What do you think most people misunderstand about manifestation?
they misunderstand. I don't think people misunderstand. I just don't think they have a true awareness of it because we're in the middle of a manifestation right now,
Yeah.
right? And what I will add to about misunderstanding is that manifestation is nothing but a story that you believe about your life. That's it. That's all it is. Everything is a story. Is even a story that keeps you in fear because of the pain of the past has such a heavy emotion, so it controls you, or it's a story that hasn't formed yet that you trust that can come true. So I tell people 2 years ago, I wanted to create a new story in my life, and that was write a book, a real book. I didn't have the book 2 years ago. I had the consciousness and the thought that I could write it. It took me 2 years for this story to be evidence of what I wanted to do, right? I had the thought, but I had to manifest it by believing that it was true. Where some people have a story that's new, the reason they don't believe it because most people, I would say 80% of people look for evidence before they take action.
Yeah.
And in spiritual fitness, you don't have evidence. The evidence is your soul talking to you, and you can accept that you're listening to what it's calling you into, and you take it. Spiritual fitness, it came to me. I didn't sit down and think about it, and I turned it into a paradigm, a consciousness, a business, you know, energy, a frequency to help people change their life because it changed mine.
Yeah.
But that's the story I wanted to create it, and I created it. Right. So manifestation, the misunderstanding is that we misunderstand that it's all your story, which is your life. The story we're in right now, we manifest it.
Yeah. It gives me chills when you talk about it, that spiritual fitness came to you because that's exactly what I experience with
Yeah.
creative consciousness.
Yeah.
And I'm rewriting my book, Decoding the Flow. Right now, I'm just sitting down and rewriting to create that paradigm that you were talking about. So it is a manifestation. I'm so glad to hear. And I really can't wait to read your book, how people can get your book.
Yeah, so you can go to Amazon and get the pre-orders right now. The actual book be launched and comes out on the 8/8 portal, so August 8th, right? And you'll have your book. If you order it now, you'll probably have it no later than August 10th. And then the intentions is the story I'm creating is to do pop-ups, to do a book tour, and potentially have a spiritual fitness conference that people can attend or workshop that people can come to in LA, right? So right now it's just all about promoting the book, getting people to get the book, to learn about the book, and really building an IP around the book to bring it into fruition, to allow the transmission of the book to be embedded into people's consciousness so it can change their life and livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful. How can someone strengthen their spiritual fitness starting today?
Go sit in silence for 30 minutes and ask yourself a question about what you want or about what you fear and let the answer come through and write it down. And then after you get all these things on paper, just say you ask yourself 3 to 5 questions. Take those answers, meditate on them, right? For like 3 to 5 minutes, then go in the gym and work through that energy of those answers, right? And then you become spiritually fit of that new awareness. And then over time, you trust it, and then you become spiritually fit, right? Because in spiritual fitness, it's not a one size fit all type of thing. It is an experience that you have to be present for. Where in my container, when I'm training, maybe groups of people or just one on ones, people are crying, people are vulnerable, people are healing, they're having breakthroughs, healing is happening in the moment. But it's not like when you do this is not a logical formula. This is a spiritual formula connected to the soul of the person. And through that space, depending on what they believe, right, or what they call in, will change their life if they're open to it. So spiritual fitness comes from the person being available to their fitness of their spirit if they listen to it.
What is that something that you're still learning today?
That I'm still learning. I'm still learning a lot, but I think the main thing I've learned lately is that everyone has a story about their life that's even helping them and hurting them. And so I want to be the evidence of how you can change your story to change your life. So I'm learning how can I create better stories for myself to be the evidence to teach others to create a story for themselves to change their life or improve their life. Because life is a story that we are telling every day. That's the manifestation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is so
Yeah.
true. And I love that you said, going back to your point, that your story it's either connected to love or fear.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I always say to you either reacting to life, which is the fear paradigm, or you're creating life, which is the love paradigm.
I love that creative consciousness. Yeah, and I think we've been programmed into fear consciousness because everyone's is trying to protect themselves or from something they can't see. So they actually are more spiritual than they are fit, but they're just on the other side of their spirit, which is fear and not love, because we've been programmed and conditioned and wired for fear.
Yeah.
The government, this, politics, that. Even with social media, when they talk about don't eat this, don't drink out of plastic bottles, don't drink this milk. It's just like it's like we're so confused with so much information. We don't even know how to be a human being anymore.
Yeah.
We're just so programmed by this digital space that we're not even in our own space of our life because we're confused from the AIs of the world, the social medias of the world, which is not creative consciousness, which is not love consciousness, which is not spiritual fitness. So everything we've been given somewhat somehow is taking us out of our body of life and creating taking us in our mind and then robbing us of our consciousness and then filling up with the world wants to put in there to control us and to stimulate fear within us to stop us from tapping into that remembrance of creative consciousness.
Yes, exactly. It's a remembrancing.
Yeah.
You said it all. So, if you could give a listener one daily practice to transform their life, what it would be? I
uh,
think you mentioned about sitting down and writing your questions,
I would say breath work,
breath work.
breath work. And the reason I say breath work is prayer for the body because breath work gets you out of your mind and puts you in your body. And when you're more present and more available for spirit, for your soul, for yourself, you can actually have clarity. You get revelation and you can be more clear on what it is you want or who you are. But we spend a lot of time in the mental part of life and our mind, our egos, our intellect. And that's where I was at for years, always in my crown. I could never ground what I had come through my channel because it was too heavy to hold. So I couldn't embody it.
Mm.
So I was spiritual, I just wasn't fit. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I think breath work kind of allowed me to integrate those things that were so in my consciousness of life or my intellect of life. But I think breath work would definitely help people. This one thing I know for sure will shift people. Do breath work 5 minutes. It will change your life.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And just to close it up, what are some of your daily routines that are non-negotiables for you?
Breath work, prayer, movement, affirmations, and reading. So I try to read 20 minutes a day, breath work, 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes. Prayer always. I pray so many times a day.
Me
Movement is
too.
medicine. I definitely got to move my body with intentions. And yeah, those things put me in alignment of what I'm here to do or what I'm available for as the day begin. But those things set me up for the win.
Yeah. Very close to my routine. When you are at the gym lifting weights, do you listen to anything or is just your mind?
Yeah, it depends. Depends on what space. Like right now, I'm listening to the Science of Getting Rich.
I
So
love that book. I listen so many times.
sometimes I read and I have another book called The Psychology of Money, or just if I'm listening to music. But most times I'm listening to something that's going to expand my consciousness or expand my understanding. And sometimes it can be music, but I like to learn as I move, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as I'm moving, I'm learning. As I'm learning, I'm moving, and then I'm integrating that information within my vessel.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you really make me feel like a normal person because when I am at the gym, I'm
Yeah.
listening to really old audiobooks about metaphysics. This is like my to go to the gym. And I was like, so weird because it's so different, right? But I really learn a lot.
And I think too, I think that's gonna be the new phase in life. I say 5 years from now, everybody's gonna be doing that. Because this
Yeah.
is what I figured out. Because of social media and because of the material realm and the physical, the matrix, the 3D, we're so disturbed by the 3D now because our eyes are lying to us, or we're confused by what we're seeing from politics to celebrities. I was telling someone over there, I was like, you got these young kids that are seeing things their eyes haven't earned to see, right? Certain kids or people, you're never going to see a Lamborghini or super mansion or a certain type of looking person if you're not in that space or you're not didn't work for it. So what happens is unconsciously we're comparing ourselves. We're feeling entitled, right? So everybody has something. I got this car, I got this watch, I got, it's like, and then you get to a point where you're just tired of the seeing it. It's like, what am I being? And I know light workers, coaches, healers, spiritualists are going to be the new influencers of this world because people are looking for depth. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for trust. They're looking for transparency. And they're looking for something real because what we're seeing for so much has disturbed our eyes that we can't even see anymore. And
And I think
think
our
but I think what I'm really saying is that I've figured out because I'm in spaces where, as we talked about earlier, I've been on TV, I've traveled the world, I have clients who are the it of their world, they're celebrities of their world. So I'm around all of what people think they want from a material perspective. And even in some of those spaces, people are not growing as much because life is marriage and marriage is growth. But what's not happening is that people consciousness is not growing. People are making more money. They're getting in relationships. They're getting married. They're living their dreams, but their consciousness is not growing. So they're still living from an old or past paradigm that doesn't serve this new earth, which is going into a new consciousness of the age of Aquarius and all the things we're moving into. So
yeah.
that's why consciousness work, soul work, spiritual work, and integration with embodiment, remembrance, tap into the light codes of our soul is going to matter because we're not going to be able to exist in the old paradigms anymore because they don't serve our soul.
I think it's already happening.
Yeah.
And you can see people are not even trusting the government anymore and all those paradigms that we know as we know it's
Yeah.
crumble for
Sure.
the new to be born. So amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Eric. Where does people
Yeah.
can find you? How people can work with you and find you on all of the socials?
Well, one, you can go to my Instagram at Eric Bigger. Click the link. You can get my book, pre order it. It'll be out in August 8th. Join my spiritual fitness workout fitness containers where I have a group space every Wednesday. We work out and I'm teaching consciousness through movement, through prayer, through breath work. So spiritual fitness, sacred momentum. You can join that. Also have a group man Mondays where I'm helping men become better men and tap into their divine masculine. And you go to my website, ericbigger.com, sign up for a discovery call. We can talk, but you just go to my Instagram, just connect with my energy and see if it's in alignment where you want to go and build some rapport. I like to see, I want people to get the real me, not the me that they think I am because of what they see. But once you get into the depth or the soul of my work, you'll feel who I am. You won't have to, you're like, oh, I get it. So the main thing is for you, the listener, and one watching, and it's for you to change your consciousness so you can not only become spiritually fit, but you can become entwined and connected to your soul consciousness to live out your divine purpose. That's what it's really about for me. True creativity, creative consciousness
Creative
will
consciousness.
help
That's
change
exactly
this
it. I
world. That's just what it spiritual fitness is, just a welcoming you to your soul so you understand it and you can follow its blueprint to live out that design. Period. Spiritual fitness is just going to make you feel safe to receive that part of you without judgment or fear. So yeah. So
yeah.
go to the Instagram, go to the website, go to Amazon, get the book, and I'm thankful. So thank you for
Love
having.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Eric, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. If you love this podcast episode, don't forget to leave your comment below with your biggest takeaway. Get Eric's book. I want everybody to get their spiritual fitness. I am definitely getting more mine. I really appreciate you, Eric, and I'm pretty sure that we're gonna meet soon.
Yes, we will.
Have a good one. Thank
Thank you.
you.